getting ready to seize your first opportunity to come into the ring and start grandstanding and hot dogging, yeah!
I can't help it that I look good, smell good, can dance all night long.
When we speak, our voices are heard, we all say, I bring it.
Welcome to Malice Smack Talk, the top talk show who talks nothing but smack talk about Fastlane and WrestleMania coming soon. Tonight we are doing Fastlane prediction show. I am here, Masonic Vader, your weekly host. Joining me is Guru.
What is up, man? It's been an action-packed week. Cannot wait to talk wrestling.
Absolutely. It's been a great week, man. Lots of stuff going on. And we, unfortunately, are going to be without Mindfreak tonight. He is on sickness assignment with Coach. So we will get him back next week. But don't worry, we have his picks, so we can still make fun of him or at least sit there and say the usual, I'll just say what Marty said lines.
I have a feeling I'm going to be using that line a lot tonight.
Yes. I think we're all going to be on the same page on this one. We are one pay-per-view away from WrestleMania. This is the setup show for the big event, and we're going to start seeing some of the some other matches start coming to fruition other than the ones we already know about, and we're going to start seeing those what kind of seeds are going to probably be planted this pay-per-view. I'm actually a little excited for this one. Usually in years past, Fastlane has been kind of like it's been like, all right, it's kind of a setup. It loses some luster because they already had some really the matches named off this year. Not so much. One or two matches named. The rest of the stuff is going to be happening over the next 3-4 weeks. So I am pumped for Fastlane this weekend. Bearded Master, what do you think, sir?
I'm excited to see what's going to happen as far as leading into the last month of WrestleMania. As far as this card itself, can't really say I'm too excited for it. There's some good matches, obviously. There's a lot of my favorite wrestlers and performers on the roster are on this card, but I feel like we're missing out a lot. I mean, when we look at this card, we have 8 matches on the card, and 4 titles are not being defended, and that's kind of irritating to me, to be honest.
True, but remember, it's set up. They can't blow the load before WrestleMania, and it
True.
can't.
However, when two of the titles haven't been defended at all this year on our pay-per-view, it's kind of irritating, especially when we're getting a non-title singles match that we've seen 3 times already on a pay-per-view. That do we need to see a fourth coming of this match?
Rare watch that than the champion that never shows up because he doesn't show up. At least we'll have some quality match.
That is true, but there are 2 titles that I would love to see being defended.
Absolutely, I concur. Now, before we jump,
3. There's 3 other titles I'd rather see being defended.
We will chat about that in a second because before we jump in, we're going to do 2 things. First of all, unlike last week, so I waited to the last second, we're going to start off the show by making sure we thank our sponsors, our host site, Malice Corp. They are a phenomenal group of people, which we're obviously part of. You can follow them check out the website at malice-corp.com. You can find all of our old podcasts there. Also, all the other shows that the website does produce, like tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Friday night, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Twitch. You'll have their main show, the Nerd Talk show. This week will be a interesting show. We'll have a lot of good topics to talk about there. We were actually talking about beforehand. But you can also find Comics for All, Quest for 100, tons of articles. It is really a great channel. Check out all things nerd. So thank you so very much, malice-corp.com. Appreciate you. Boot the Face is awesome too. Yeah, look, you got a smile out of the beer. Yeah. So before we get things going, we're going to start off with just some news that happened this week. There was actually 3 things I wanted to talk about. I forgot to mention one to Marty, but Beer Master, but he'll figure out at the end. The first thing is man, another month, another legend passes away. The great King Kong Bundy, probably one of the coolest freaking heels I can remember growing up as a kid. 480 pounds of ball-headed madness, and he was a scary dude. He was never one of those guys that won the championships. In fact, I don't think his had any championships involved. I think any championships he won was outside of the WWF, WWE spectrum. But he made a very good impact in his time. Had a great steel cage match with Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 2. He as a whole, he made a really good impact as a bad guy and was a feared bad guy for a number of years. Famous for his he doesn't take the 3 counts, he takes the 5 counts and forced the ref to do the 5 count every single time. Part of the Heenan family. And just overall, really good guy. I mean, you read a lot of articles about him outside of the ring, and there is nothing but positiveness about that guy and his life. Once again, because these guys are legends and Bearded Master, you were probably just a tad wee bit high in my kneecap. Well, what do you know? What do you remember about King Kong Bundy and whatnot?
I mean, I just remember watching his old matches on the network, and not even that, but before the network was there. I mean, WrestleManias, a lot of the stuff that was on VHS, and remember going to the video store, and when I would rent out the old WrestleMania tapes, that obviously when you have WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2, those stick out. The cage match with Hogan, the blue cage.
Yes,
that stands out. He was absolutely a great heel. I mean, it was, and then going back and watching some matches that, he wasn't just WWE or WWF at the time, to be honest. He was, and he didn't have any WWF titles, but he did have whole titles in NWA, AWA, all the Southern organizations in the territories had titles there. But yeah, I mean, that's about it. Like you said, he was at a time before mine, so only thing I really got to watch of his was recordings and playbacks on it. So, but no, definitely a legend in the industry. Whenever you talk big guys, he's definitely one that's always mentioned, and one for a reason. He was a force to be reckoned with. A
absolutely.
legend in the industry.
Used to call him the walking
whenever you
condominium. He's just a huge guy. In fact, he was I had the wrestling figures, the hard plastic ones, and he was the guy that Hulk Hogan always fought whenever I was playing with those things. It was Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy. And man, King Kong Bundy, you throw that guy high up in the air with those little figures, man, he got some air when he hit the ground. So yeah, he's great. He's a great legend. And some of the things that really impressed me the most about him outside of his ability in the ring, because for a really big guy, like I said, he's about 468, 475. He could still move really well. But he also had really good mic skills. He had that old gritty voice and just always sound pissed off, and it was perfect for it was the perfect good versus bad heel. So rest in peace, sir. I hope you're having a great Royal Rumble with the other legends we've lost over the last year and a half. So there you go, man. King Kong Bundy, take care, sir. Couple other news events. Now I'm going to fill the one that I didn't talk to you about beforehand because it just popped in, because I think the other news is a little bit cooler to talk about. But we got another entrance into the Hall of Fame.
We did.
Yes, we got Torrie Wilson, the Hall of Fame. Now I'm gonna cop some shade on you a little bit, only because last week when we talked about the Honky Tonk Man going in, you had mentioned that he was a filler. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and retract that from you, and then we're going to just put this on Torrie Wilson as she is the filler of the event. Because honestly, outside of the fact of her stunning looks and the idea of the 90s, no championships that I can recall that she ever donned in the WWE whatsoever. She was literally, unfortunately, the one of the eye candies of the 90s, of the Attitude Era. Great personality. It was awesome to see her in there. She did cool stuff in the ring here and there and stuff, but you could obviously tell it wasn't her primary job since day one. But yeah, she's in the Hall of Fame. Torrie Wilson, your thoughts, sir?
I love the fact that she's been inducted into the Hall of Fame. Yes, I know I said some comments in regards to Honky Tonk Man, but Torrie Wilson is fantastic. When it comes to valets, she's one of the best that's out there. I mean, there's obviously some valets that need to be in there. When we talk valets, we talk, Miss Elizabeth. I mean, and just given she's not like the level of Miss Elizabeth, because Miss Elizabeth was an icon. But Torrie Wilson became a wrestler too, and she became a better wrestler as she progressed. And she probably would have had some championships if it hadn't been for her having to have surgery on her back and then having to cut her career short. Because she was one of those, Trish Stratus was a fitness model who came into as a valet and became one of the greatest champions ever. I'm not saying Torrie Wilson would have been the greatest champion ever, but she was on that path to becoming an actual wrestler. She was one of the best. And what I remember of Torrie Wilson was that she was one of the first, definitely one of the first females, but I think one of the first people in general to come over from WCW to WWE during the Invasion storyline. Her and Stacy Keibler. But there was a lot of great storylines that happened with Torrie Wilson through those Attitude Eras. And so I think for what she was and what she brought to the mainstream, because she was definitely a mainstream name for a while.
Absolutely.
I think that alone brings her into that conversation of being in the Hall of Fame. Not so much titles, but what she brought to the industry.
Yeah, I get your point on it, but I definitely wanted to make sure we removed the filler tag off of Honky Tonk Man. At least the guy had a championship run or two, okay?
All right, fine. I will.
Thank you.
I will pull back my comments in regard to Honky Tonk. However, when it comes down to it, every year there is a gimmick that's involved, a la Godfather. Just saying.
I'll take gimmick. Yeah, and it's cool to see her in there. I sometimes hope though that sometimes like there's got to be a point where WWE looks at their Hall of Fame and doesn't try to saturate it, I guess, in a sense, because ultimately I think Hall of Fame to me, and this is coming from a sports ground, means these guys are the top of their class. Like when you think a team, when you think Green Bay Packers, you think Brett Favre. When you think Chicago Bulls, you think Michael Jordan. These guys.
Speaking of Michael Jordan, pop culture trivia.
Oh boy.
LeBron James just passed Michael Jordan on the all-time scorers list tonight.
Still doesn't matter. He's still not the GOAT.
I'm not saying I will say that. I got Jordan up on the wall right there.
Yeah, man.
No, I mean, this is it. When you look at all time, I mean, obviously Kareem will never be touched. I think Malone's up there, Kobe, and then you got Jordan. Yeah. And now in the top 5 scoring all time, we got LeBron James. Which is pretty cool. Yeah. Now we can go on back to.
Go back. Yeah. So kudos to Torrie Wilson for making it, but I'm really hoping that WWE starts in future. I'm sure there's other people that are, I'm going to say it, more deserving than Torrie Wilson. I think this should have been maybe one of those entries into the celebrity wing. I don't know. There's other people, other women. I'm saying just because there's other women, and yet they haven't even had their considerations yet.
Who?
What's that?
Who?
Well, we got Victoria, who's had multiple championship runs. That hasn't had that yet. Let's see here. Gosh, man, now you make me go back. I should have wrote down a list of people. Molly Holly's in there. Yep.
Molly Holly, she is in there.
Molly Holly's in there. That's what I was saying. She's in there.
When you look at let's
throw out the proverbial China. She will be in there.
There's a reason. So here's the thing. They're not going to induct China as an individual when they're inducting her this year as the with DX. So
we all know why she's not individual right now, and she should have had well before. Yeah,
agreed. And when you look at that route, Torrie Wilson, I think, is a solid individual to be brought in. I mean, to be honest, over the last couple of years, a lot of the big names in female wrestling have been inducted. So now it's going to get to that next tier level of female wrestlers.
Yeah, they're definitely running out of names from the 90s.
I mean, look at the last. I mean, we got within the last 7 years, we've had Ivory, we've had Jacqueline, we've had Lita, Trish, Alundra Blaze was just inducted not too long ago. That's 5 female. Molly Holly was in that time, 6 females within the last 6 years, 6, 7 years.
You know what's crazy though? If you think about this, every name you put out there, I know there's other women out there, like some of the ECW bringovers, like Dawn Marie and whatnot. I get that, but of all those names we just talked about that were pretty much mainstay WWE, those were the only names actually doing stuff on the roster at the time, which is crazy. Which goes to show the improvement and the advancement that wrestling has made from the 90s till now, because you've got like 7 women that you could put on the top of your on your list, Victoria being one of them that's not in there, plus everyone else you just mentioned. And dude, there's like freaking 7 women on, I mean, there's like 7 women right now on the active roster that are crushing it, with about 10 or 10 women and potentially another 5 or more coming from NXT, and just not in WWE in general, like across the spectrum, across the boards. Women wrestling has transcended and has gotten so much better. And so, that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping that WWE somehow finds a way to be able to start kind of being a little bit more nitpicky on stuff and maybe giving them their due, but just, I don't know, just don't throw them in there because they need a name from the 90s,
No, I get that. But I don't know. Here's the thing. When we look at this Hall of Fame this year, the entire focus is going to be on DX. There's no doubt. There's no question about it. So you're not going to keep. They're the headliner, and which they announced them first. So we know that the next couple. Let's see, we're this week as of Sunday will officially be 4 weeks out. So we only have 3 members included into this year's Hall of Fame. Usually they do 6 or 7 total.
Yeah, around there.
So we're gonna have another 3. I don't think 4, probably 3 more. They'll probably announce 3 the next 3 weeks. They'll announce somebody new.
Yeah, remember they always announce people, but then there's always these ones that don't get announced that we hear about the night of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so I don't know. So I think with that, we have nobody's going to be A tier level inductees the rest of the way through. It's going to be B and C level talent. Not necessarily people that don't deserve it, but just they're not going to take focus away from DX. That's the end of it. Right? Especially when you have 5 members being inducted or 6 members being inducted through DX alone. So that's where the focus is going to be. So again, congratulations, Torrie Wilson. Well deserved.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Cannot wait to watch her up on stage.
Yeah, she still has the look. I'll tell you that.
She looks better now than she did when she was wrestling. I'm not gonna lie. I followed you. You watch her. Man, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Dude, I ain't gonna lie, man. The 90s, man, cursed me. Between Sunny, between Trish Stratus.
Well, we all know where Sunny ended up these days, but Torrie Wilson looks better than she did back then. At Torrie Wilson, take a look, and you will not be disappointed.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that. And moving on. Last piece of news that we got this week, big piece of news. Samoa Joe gets his championship, gets his first WWE main roster championship, beating R-Truth, Rey Mysterio, and Andrade in a fatal 4-way U.S. title open challenge, and becomes the new U.S. champion. Well deserved. It's about time he got himself a championship. He's been on the roster long enough to where he should have had one, and it was actually a really good match. Were you able to catch it yet?
Of course.
Okay,
Whoa, come on, man. It's last night when I got home from the bar after a long day of classes. But I did end up waking up at 4 a.m. this morning and watched the rest of it. And because I had an hour drive to work with the rain, hopefully no one of law enforcement was listening, but I may have had it playing on the phone, plugged into the speakers in the car on the long hour drive to work.
Hey, let me tell you, I do that all the time, but I don't watch the TV. I listen to it. You know what I'm saying? And you can still listen and get everything going on. I think we still have active minds. I mean, if anyone gives me grief, I'm just going to tell them, hey, dude, I'm just trying to imitate what my dad used to do when he was a kid, listen to the radio and just listen to it and visually memorize it. You know what I'm saying?
I would. Yeah.
Yeah. So Samoa Joe wins his championship. It was a really good match. I like the fatal 4-way.
Man, not only was it a great match, but I actually thought that R-Truth, and I was pulling for R-Truth to retain.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to too, and it sucks that he didn't. That he lost the title by not even being in the ring. That's how it always happens. But I felt that they did. If they're going to take the belt off him, I thought that they did it right by not letting him take the pin. So he didn't. I mean, it's good to be honest. Truth's on his way out. He's gonna be alive. He's a lifer. He's been there forever. They gave him the belt. Don't let him lose get pinned in the middle of the ring. That's not cool. I actually thought he was gonna tap out, and I was like, don't do him dirty. Don't do him dirty like that. So, and the fact that Andrade is the one that took the pin, I like that because Andrade, I feel like is up and coming. He's proven himself, and I really don't think Andrade a pin is going to do him any harm right now because he's so new, so fresh, and has been dominating in his matches he's had that, I don't know. I don't think it hurts him to take that pin.
Absolutely not. And in fact, he's had a really great run this year so far, especially with his rivalry with Rey Mysterio, which I'm sure we'll be chatting about here in just a second. So, but it's good. I hope Samoa Joe holds on to this belt for a little bit, or at least tries to have a feud with. I think a feud with R-Truth would actually be pretty good. R-Truth has really shown that he's still got pep in his step. His matches are solid. He's still got all of his moves. His mic skills are on point right now. Him and Carmella as a team are a great combination, and I hope they're able to run this and potentially do a rematch or a one-on-one match with. Samoa Joe and R-Truth possibly at WrestleMania, being one of the intro matches or something. Who knows?
I'd be okay with seeing Truth in a tag team match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Because there's somebody who's expected to be at WrestleMania with no card or no match, and he's been mentioned an awful lot the last couple of weeks because of R-Truth.
Yeah.
The two of them. I mean, how cool would a WrestleMania moment be for R-Truth to be wrestling as a tag team with his childhood icon, John Cena?
Which is awesome because he's older. I love that, man. Like I said, man, the comedy right now with R-Truth is on point. Carmella is a great combo with him. She's flowing really well. She's found a good niche. It's not that she's valet. She still actively wrestles, but man, she's working quite well with R-Truth right now, which is
not
great.
Only that, but I am more entertained and I enjoy seeing her out there more now since she's been with R-Truth than I did before. I don't know. It's just she obviously made a great heel, but what she's doing now, she doesn't have the high screeching, screaming, and yelling and arrogant conversation and mics that she was doing then. It's more entertainable, it's enjoyable, and it's good to see her, getting positive reaction rather than being booed. I think she's embraced this, and I think she's fantastic. Not only that, but R-Truth is doing some of the best. Let's be honest. To me, honestly, I feel like R-Truth is doing some of his best work on the mic since he was K-Quick and Ron Road Dogg. I mean. So, I don't know. I love the two of them together. I hope that they continue to go and do more entertaining stuff because, I mean, look at, a month and a half, 2 months ago, we were talking about True TV being the most entertaining moment on SmackDown every week. And and that's because of them. And
we got to welcome Peteopolis to the chat room on Twitch. And I'm going to tell you right now, man, I don't think you want us to doing a 7-minute or 7-second dance break. We are the wrong people to be throwing out.
I could probably do it, but I'm definitely not doing no floss because I know I can't do it like them. Maybe when Mindfreak comes back, we can get him to do a floss or something as like his return. Him being the last place. He's got to be punished, so. Last
place and punishment for not being here 2 weeks in a row.
Before we move on, and we're just talking about Hall of Fame. Speaking of Peteopolis, mentioning the rumors about Hart Foundation possibly being members of the induction into Hall of Fame this year. What are your thoughts on that if that were true?
I think it's well deserving. However, I would hope they would wait a year.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I say that is because if you're going to put the Hart Foundation into the Hall of Fame, they are going to be the first introduced, and they are going to be the headline for the for that class. And you could talk about every version of it. You could talk about the original with Bret Hart and Neidhart. You could talk about the addition of having Owen Hart. You could eventually talk about Davey Boy and Owen Hart. You can go any direction you want to go. Bottom line, the Hart Foundation would be one that I hope that they make as the primary or the main intro. To put them on it this year, it would be great. It'd be well-deserved, especially with Neidhart passing this year. But I think with DX, and I think all the stuff that now China has gotten with the DX announcement, they're not going to get the cred that they should get, or the notoriety. Like, they won't get as much time as DX and how China now is getting in when she's well-deserved.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that they're well-deserved. I mean, when you look at the Hart Foundation, they are tag team wrestling. They're one of the greatest and most well-recognized tag teams in wrestling industry history. What the Hart Foundation was, what they stood for, and who they were, absolutely. I mean, the fact Bret Hart's in the Hall of Fame, Neidhart's never going to get in as an individual. He needs to get in as a tag team. And I get it. The perfect timing, if it wasn't for DX being inducted, this would absolutely be the perfect timing. But I agree. I think that they should wait a year so they can put the focus on there because put it this way, we're going to get Shawn Michaels being the second 2-time Hall of Fame induction this year. If you do the Hart Foundation, now you're going to make Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, which obviously they have their connection with each other, both becoming 2-time or Hall of Famers in the same show. So I think you kind of got to separate the two. The fact that you have the story between Shawn and Bret, I think you kind of need to separate that also. Even though they've made up, you don't want that. Because if they put them both up there on a stage, that's going to be mentioned multiple times. You just know what it is because that's how Corey Graves is. That's how Michael Cole is. They're just going to, the feud between the two of them is going to be mentioned, even though it shouldn't. I think that they should wait till next year. I think if you go to next year, then you can bring in the Hart Foundation. If everything's going the way it's looking, we're probably going to get Undertaker next year because it doesn't look like he's got anything going forward and might be done with the WWE as far as wrestling goes. And if that's the case, you absolutely put him as your headliner next year, and then you could, because I don't think the Hart Foundation is a headlining group, but they're probably a co-headliner. And when you do that, you can absolutely put them and Undertaker. And to be honest, for me, I think a great Hall of Fame class would be Undertaker, Hart Foundation, Owen Hart. Put all three of them together. You don't put them as one, but you give Owen Hart his due also. It's never going to happen, and then you put Christian in there. I think that would be a great Hall of Fame class with them, and then sprinkle in some others. But that'd be a fantastic class, and we won't see that. But like you said, Hart Foundation definitely needs a spotlight. They would just be overshadowed by putting them in the same class as the DX.
Yeah, the DX. If it wasn't for the fact that China wasn't part of this, because really the minute they mentioned DX was going in, that's the first thing people said. Finally, China's going in. That's what everyone was talking about. They're still talking about to this day. And going off on that, this is where WWE needs to start taking their pride and put it in their pocket right now. People like China, who was an integral part of the women's revolution and evolution. If it wasn't for China, we wouldn't see Nia Jax entering the freaking Royal Rumble. I mean, she did it. She won she's the first female to win a male's championship in the WWE. She wins the Intercontinental title, I think twice actually.
Once.
No, it was just once.
It was just once, and it was a co-champion.
Gotcha. So she wins the championship. I mean, she should have her own thing. Owen Hart should definitely be in there. Owen Hart paid his dues and was probably one of the better. I don't want to say mid-carders because I hate to say mid-card sounds bad, but he was never the heavyweight champion. He wasn't the big champion, but he always wore the European, the tag team, the Intercontinental. He's worn those in-between championships, and he made such a good name for himself. He was able to break away from his brother's shadow enough to where people mention his name. And hell, he gave his life to the damn industry. That's the least the WWE could do, is give him his opportunity in the spotlight. But because they're prideful and there's a lot of outside interferences and stuff with the family, it's BS. It really is. So, yeah, man, that's my takes. That's our news. We went too long on it, but it's all good because now it's time for Fastlane.
What's that?
Energy. Look at the energy flowing from Marty right now.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
0 to 100 in a blink of an eye because we're on to the last pay-per-view on the road to WrestleMania. As of this pay-per-view, we will officially be 1 month out from WrestleMania 35, New York City, floor seats, watching by the stage, watching them come out, watching history with the first women's headlining pay-per-view at WrestleMania. Let's get into it because that's about all the excitement that's going to come from this card.
And by the way, man, make sure you tell us where your seats are so we can try to get a photo of that and put it up on the.
I just told you, floor seats by the stage.
Well, I got you. There's a huge stage, and there's plenty of floor seats around the stage. So when you can get more specific, that'd be
fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, thank you. All right, so we've got 8 matches on the Fastlane pay-per-view. We're going to start off the pre-show match, which I actually think is going to be a very good match. Could be a potential show stealer if we haven't seen it 4 times already. Rey Mysterio versus Andrade. That too.
Andrade.
Thank you. I was for a moment having a quick Selena Vega moment because I watched just recently and SmackDown, and that was Selena Vega was a really good manager. So you got Rey versus Andrade. Yeah, Rey versus Andrade, and this has been a very good rivalry.
It is, but it's an overplayed and done. Like it needs to be over. I don't know. Who is it? No. Andrade's up 2-1 right now, right?
I want to say he's 2-1.
So what? Rey loses or wins, they go up 2-2, and they get to have a rubber match for a 5th time. I mean, is this going to be Sheamus and Cesaro? 2019. I mean, they're great. They have great chemistry. Andrade, Mysterio, they're amazing performers. Rey can absolutely be moving on to somebody else to get them over. Andrade is over. He needs to be somewhere else for the feud, working his way towards a belt. I just don't see how him wrestling Rey does him any good when they've done it over and over and over again. It's not like we're seeing anything new with these matches. I mean, I've already seen the freaking what do you want to call it? The freaking spike flipper Corona. Damn, it's a good move, but we've seen it like for every single match. It looked cool the first time, but after the 4th time, it's like, okay. Didn't mean to cut you off, but I feel you on this one, man. It's one of those things where I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to make Andrade as the next Rey Mysterio. Never going to happen. I hope not, because he's not even the same type of wrestler as Mysterio.
Yeah, absolutely not. No.
Going with that, I got Andrade winning this and hopefully ending this storyline for a time being. I don't mind if we have
Hold on. Before we do our picks, I'm gonna pull a little Vince McMahon action on you here, being the producer. The last couple prediction casts, you guys have been like just picking the same stuff over with each other and kind of patting each other on the back. So if this Fastlane pay-per-view event, you end up picking the same picks again of each other, I'm going to take 2 random matches and switch picks on you guys so that somebody wins, because I'm going to make this a competition. so that's all I wanted to let you know, because so we don't keep having just these tiebreaker type of stuff going on all the time.
Luckily, Mindfreak and I do have some variation.
No, it's just if you two are the ones that the first one of the year, I think you only had 1 pick different, except for your winners on who was going to be the last person standing. And then last pay-per-view event, it was the exact same picks throughout. You guys kind of just telling each other, "Hey, good job," So
great minds think alike, dude.
Oh, that's fine. You can think alike, but it's cutthroat. It's time to try and get that win. So, by
the way, for everyone who's now been on this show or watching this, he is our producer. That is Mess 5150. He's the guy who creates the magic. And whenever you watch our videos and see the picks and pops up, that's the guy that does all the work right there. So,
and that is the first official run-in that we've had, not only on the show, but by the producers. So well done, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. So I'm just here to throw a wrench in your entire thing. So don't pick the same picks.
I like it. I like it.
You might as well stay on and read off Mindfreak's picks for the week.
No, I'm out of here now. I'm out of here. I just came in to throw a wrench. That's it. I'm gone.
But if you want to see him some more, you can definitely see him Friday night at 8 p.m. as he is Pacific Standard Time. He is the host of Malice Corp's main talk show Friday night on Twitch, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Mess 5150. He's the man. He's my inspiration. That's why I try to do my best. He's just a producer.
I feel like I need to change up one of my matches, because I feel like we're going to be tied again, and I'm
going to get
screwed over in one of these.
I think I might have just changed. I didn't circle one of mine. I'm going to circle the one that I think you'll go opposite of, and we'll call it a day. We'll see.
All right, so we're going to start with the first match on the pre-show. We got Andrade versus Mysterio in the singles match. Derek Mindfreak has got 619 Rey Mysterio Jr. winning the match, and I have Andrade Cien Almas.
Well, I hate to give it to the producer, but I'm actually going to pick and follow Mindfreak. I'm going to pick Ray. I'm picking 619. Yeah.
A wonderful thing. And just like that, with the first pick, the wrench is thrown out.
Yeah, take your wrench. You know what you can do with that wrench, Mr. Producer? You can shine it
up
really, really nice. Turn that sumbitch sideways and stick it straight up your candy ass. Yeah. And why'd we go blank on Twitch? What's going on? All right, so that's our match right there. Yeah, all right, we're good to go. Now we get into the main event, the main show. All but two of these are actually, but two of the matches are title matches. Normally we usually keep the title matches for last, but in this situation, some of the other two matches that are not title matches are actually pretty damn important. So we're going to save those for later. I am going to start off with the Women's Championship SmackDown. We're going to start off with Asuka versus Mandy Rose. Now, I'm intrigued by this match. And I'm not, and the only reason why I am is because Mandy Rose has gotten significantly better just in the last 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, which is awesome. 2-3 months, excuse me, not 2 to 3 weeks, 2-3 months. Beginning of year, ever since they've been pushing her, she's gotten better every week. And now she's got her first opportunity, I believe, at a title, and not only that, it's at a pay-per-view, the one that sets up WrestleMania. If we could quote Mindfreak, well, it's one of those matches that can go either way. I'm going to start with you on this one, sir. What is your feelings on it?
You're going to make me go first on this one?
Absolutely, because I already know where you're going with it. So you might as well just throw it out there.
You don't know, because as much as I feel like as much as I want her to have the champion, she's my girl. I love her, and I wish she had the championship belt coming off this pay-per-view, but it's just not time. And with that, Asuka leaves Fastlane and goes to WrestleMania with the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Oh, all right. And since I just saw a note from our producer that he's going to go eat dinner and everything, I'm going to go ahead and agree with you, sir, and also go with Asuka as well. And the only reason why I'm going with Asuka is because I think Mandy Rose is going to get a title. I don't think Mandy Rose is going to get a title right before WrestleMania, because WrestleMania, you have to have your top dogs at the main show. You cannot have any subpar matches. When you watch her in some of her matches, her skill sets are much improved, but you can see something would happen, you know? It's just,
if the rumor of what I heard a little while ago has any validity to it, Mandy Rose being the champion of WrestleMania would be better than what we might get.
True. Very true. But as we've also learned lately, and people are just starting to come out of the woodworks out of nowhere, dude. Who knows? They throw a proverbial wrench into WrestleMania and give Asuka someone that we are not expecting.
Well, somebody's been around that hasn't had a match yet, but she makes her appearance known every week.
Oh, yeah. Let's not go there, dude. It's
you said
pissing me
who do you
off.
have winning this match? Oh, you said
I
Asuka?
actually went with Asuka as well.
So it's a clean sweep because Mindfreak's got Asuka also.
Yeah. Now the producer can't give us grief for that one because that's just we've been watching wrestling long enough to know that WWE is not going to have Mandy Rose in the title match as much as we would like to see it for WrestleMania. I mean, if she does win it, I'll tell you, this might get me a point. She'd lose next week to somebody else to set up a WrestleMania match. It won't be Mandy Rose winning that belt, though, or having that belt at WrestleMania.
If Mandy Rose were to win this match and walk out of Fastlane with the title, trust me, you will all know if you follow our Twitter page because it will be known.
Shoot, Corey Graves will blast that all across the damn internet. Probably break the account. Shoot, so all right, so we're one deep or two deep, guys. We're doing all right. Let's see here. Now we go from women's championship. Let's see.
Tag teams.
Yeah, let's go with the women's tag team. I want to go with that way just because I think the other tag, they're both. Well, let's go with the women's tag. Boston Hug Connection versus Nia Jax and Tamina.
And this is their first pay-per-view defense for the title.
Yes, it is. It's actually, I think, their first defense altogether, isn't it?
Did they not defend it on NXT last week? Or they were just there?
They were just there and just talking about it. Yeah. They said they would defend it on NXT.
Right.
But there was no
this
defense.
is their first official defense.
Ooh, man. And there's so many
pick.
I know, man. And I mean, I don't know if you could tell by the shirt I'm wearing. But I'm going to pick, actually, and this is going to be crazy, Nia Jax and Tamina.
Wow.
And yeah, here's the thing. The Goody Two Shoes, the Boston Hug Connection is great, and it was great that they won the championship, but I really can't see Tamina and Nia Jax not having the championship without having – I mean, it's going to be a one-on-one competition now. I mean, it should be Nia Jax and Tamina just demolishing the tag team and taking the belt. I would like to see them win it because they would dominate the division and hopefully give enough time to allow other women's tag teams to form and build up the division. Because to me, Boston Hug is a great photo, them holding the belt. But I think it's going to wear thin sooner rather than later versus it's more believable to see a dominant tag team with Nia and Tamina. Plus, like I mentioned before, I think Tamina is deserving of a belt, for God's sake. You might as well give her one by now. She's only been with the company almost 10 years, and she hasn't got a single belt yet. And she's, regardless of injuries, she always comes back. And she always comes and does what she can. And she did it during really trying times at one point with family relations happening. So give her a chance, give her a belt. And I think that the women's tag team would flourish even more because it just means more tag teams form and there would get more, there would be more competition happening.
So Mindfreak picks Boston Hug Connection. I agree with you a lot. Would you say Nia Jax, Tamina would be amazing for the tag team? I obviously wanted them to win it at the Elimination Chamber. Thought they were going to win it.
Yeah.
I think that they would excel and lift it up to a whole new level. Especially you give it to Boston Hug just because of who they are. You give them the perennial first time to win it, first female champions. You give it to them so they get their name on that record book.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be a long tenure with them for those belts. However, I do not believe this is as a universal defended belt. I feel like we're going to see something big happen at WrestleMania, and considering that we have 3 members of these 4 horsewomen from both UFC and WWE wrestling fighting in the main event, and I think a great opportunity would be for the Boston Hug Connection to win these belts and then get challenged by Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke at WrestleMania. So then we have the storyline going forward of the 4-on-4, and I think that is essentially what we're going to see. Fancy booking, throwing it out there now. I wouldn't put it past the WWE to try to get that going. If we get only because they're going to have to see something going forward for all of them, especially once Ronda loses the belt to Becky Lynch. With my pick, I got Boston Hug retaining and winning and retaining.
I'll tell you this, man. I see your thought process there, but have you actually watched Jessamine Duke and them? Have you seen them in the ring yet?
I have, and they're better than half the women's tag teams that we have seen.
Here's
the thing.
Because there's not many tag teams.
They are actually a legit tag team rather than two female wrestlers thrown together.
They are, but I'm having like, and I'm the one who watches NXT every week, and I love it and stuff. I have a hard time watching their matches. It's kind of like what we were talking about with Baszler when she switched over, Ronda when they switched over. They seem like they're having a harder time adjusting, and I think part of it is because they're right now in the shadows of Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. It should help them out, but they're having a hard time adjusting to in-ring competition. The matches, they're striking and everything. It almost seems like they're holding back their match because legitimately they can strike, they can hit. They've been in UFC, they've fought, and you could see them holding back too much to a point where there's a lot of misses. There's a lot of obvious like, oh my gosh, you totally screwed that one up. And so that's why I'm kind of like, I see your point, but they are not ready for it yet. And they've only got 30 days to be ready for it. So, so we got our, so it looks like you guys picked Boston Hug and we got Nia Jax.
That is correct.
All right. So then we are moving forward. Let's move on to the move on to the men's tag team. I think that's a great segue over. You've got the Usos versus Shane and Miz.
Really? That's the one you're going to pick first over the other tag team? You're not going to get the bullshit tag team match out of the way first?
Oh, crap. You're right. It's such bullshit. I wrote that to the last match, and I totally skipped it. Yeah, let's not.
How are you going to pass that when that's your favorite tag team in that match?
You're the one who has their T-shirt. Take it easy, buddy. All right, so Raw Tag Team Championships. Actually, yeah. So we have a three-way tag team. We have the Revival as the champs versus Aleister Black and Ricochet. And then you have at the last minute add-on Bobby Roode and Chad Gable in a triple threat tag team match.
We're going to throw out Mindfreak's picks. He's got Ricochet and Black.
Cool. You know what's funny? You're going to love this. I'm going to pick the Revival.
I knew that you would.
And the only reason why I say it, man, is they've been the stepping stone for everybody for the last 3 weeks. They've lost every match. It's a good way to give them a nice little win is at a pay-per-view. That's a meaningless pay-per-view in a sense, because there's other than the fact that this is setting up stories, they don't really have a story right now. So this win is going to be one of those things where we're not going to be talking about the next day. We're going to be talking about other matches that are going to happen. So I think Revival pulls it off.
I don't. I think they're gonna lose this belt. They throw them the bone, so they can hang around a little bit before leaving the AEW. I don't want to see Gable and Roode with the belts again. I just cannot stand Gable at all, and I think Bobby Roode deserves so much better than what storylines and the programs they keep giving him. And I think that the new guys are going to get one over here. And I think that Ricochet and Black get these belts and they run wild on the main roster.
All right. Go with that. The only reason why I didn't want to pick Aleister Black and Ricochet is because if they solidify them as a tag team by winning the belts, I don't know. I see Ricochet and Aleister Black both having very good, successful careers right from the beginning because they came out of NXT successful as all heck. I mean, man, Ricochet was only on there for 4 months. Aleister Black for, I think, of just over a year. So they've made that much of an impact that fast that I wouldn't want to waste any of their time or talent on trying to solidify a tag team when they've got more than enough tag teams coming through the division that they can get them on their paths to win Intercontinental Gold, potential championships, like major championships. It's not like we've never seen someone who weighs under 200 pounds win a championship.
Yeah, I just think we have a lot of individual talent already that you can't jump them up in front of everybody that's been doing it for a time, the while it's been there. You can't just you got to let them earn their way up. You got to slow roll them. And this is the perfect way to do it. Have them as a tag team, let them get their dues, let people get excitement and get their following behind them, and then you can have them go their separate ways by still having that friendship there. And then you let them do their own thing, and then you let them see what they do at their 205 or Cruiserweight Championship or an IC or US title. Just because I think that this is going to get the visibility on them. It's going to open them up to future storylines, but this is a starting point for them, and I think the revival get them over.
All right, there you go. Well, there we go. We talked about the Trash Tag Team Championship. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the other one then, because this one is actually going to be a phenomenal match. Usos versus Shane and Miz. First of all, Miz's hometown, Cleveland, gonna be there. His dad's gonna be there. We've heard about for the last month or so.
Speaking of his dad being there, because they're fighting the Usos. How awesome would it be if the Mrs. Dad's right there, and then on the other side, you get the Usos' daddy there, and Big Daddy Rikishi is just sitting there chilling, and puts Daddy Miz in his place. I'd love to see that.
Face.
Whatever has to happen, has to happen. I just think that'd be awesome. Just a cool portion of the storyline to build something up. I think that'd be pretty cool. However, he'll be out. I would say Rikishi's out here in Brea. Going to do a stand up. I think that's not until later this month, though.
So pick wise, I'm just going to cut to the chase. I'm giving it to the Usos. And the only reason, the reason why I want to give it to the Usos is because A, they're deserving to have the championship run that they need. B, they should be the championships going into WrestleMania because they are the top tag team in the division.
And they deserve to finally have their WrestleMania moment because they
absolutely
keep screwed over every single year, and they have been the best and most consistent tag team for the last 6 years, and they keep getting screwed over right before WrestleMania comes. So they better walk out with these belts to lead into WrestleMania.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm assuming that's who you just picked.
It is. It is who I picked. Also, because it continues my storyline of the Miz and Shane drama, and that's going to lead to them at WrestleMania. So I think this is the perfect time to make that happen. And clean sweep again, Usos for Mindfreak.
There you go. So our producer is not watching right now, hopefully, and he's not hearing this clean sweep stuff. We have had some.
It's cool. We have 3 matches different from each other, so that's almost half the matches.
All right, go finish your dinner. All right, so so we're cruising along pretty well here. Anything do you think? So we're almost we got like the 3 main matches left. Do you think any surprises, non-wrestling? Do you think there's gonna be any surprises that come into this pay-per-view to set up something for WrestleMania?
No, I don't.
No,
I don't see where somebody could insert themselves. If they were to, it'd be a legend. Cena, something like that. But I just don't see where there's a match that they can really just do that. I think if one of them come out, it'll be something at a pay-per-view card that does it, or not at a home show like a Raw SmackDown that'll get that storyline going. I think this is just going to be a quick pay-per-view.
Gotcha. Okay, I got one I'm going to throw in there in a little bit, which goes to our 3 main matches of the night. I'm going to start off with the recently announced match that they did over the last couple of days. We're going to start off with the Shield versus
McIntyre 3.
McIntyre, 3MB. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, technically they could get away with that one.
They'd be better.
Yeah. Oh, hell of a lot better.
Does that make Bobby Lashley, Jinder, and Baron Corbin Heath Slater? Because I can see that.
Yeah, just Heath Slater on roids. Yeah. So it's Shield versus the talents of Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre. I started off my pick last time. I defer to you on this one, sir.
I think we're going to see a lot of different things happen in this match. We're going to see a great match personally. But obviously, we're going to have Lashley's baby brother there, Leo Rush, hanging around ringside. We always know how that goes. But I also think because Dean Ambrose and him kind of being the fourth man, I think that we see Elias come out at some point of this match because he's not on the card. He's got nothing going on. That being said, the reunion tour, the final outing, who knows what's going to happen in a month if Dean Ambrose is still going to be around. I just don't. They could absolutely go the opposite way, and it would make for a strong story to go forward. However, you just can't go against the Shield on this one.
Man, I see your point. I do. It's hard. It's a hard pick only because, like I said, we don't know we don't know the status of freaking Dean Ambrose. We don't know if he's going to go.
It's a work, bro. It's a work.
Exactly. But you never know, man. It could happen. You really could see it happening.
Speaking of Dean, there was a comment that was made on Monday night that really didn't sit well with me, and it was kind of odd. And Corey kind of went after right away, but Mrs. Ambrose, I don't know, why am I dropping her name right now? I'm forgetting her name. During the match, Renee Young. Wow, I don't know how I forgot that. And I guess that just talks about her performances, how unforgettable they are, or forgettable they are. She made a comment regarding Ambrose when he first walked out and went to the back, and she said, you don't know he's doing going for the greener grass, or the green, something along those lines. And it's like, really, like. I get what I get it. Like, you want to go, you chase the grass, and the grass is green on the other side, kind of thing. But this is still your employer. Like, how are you gonna say this greener grass, then the people still paying you? It was weird to me that she said that, and then Corey pounced on that right away, and she said, "Well, you don't know what he's got planned." It's like, okay, this is a work.
Yeah,
this is a 100% work, because you just threw out a bullshit line that makes absolutely no sense. Whether you're trying to progress the story of him leaving or not, it was like that's a weird comment for somebody to make about their husband leaving when they're still employed by that same company.
Not only is it that, because I also agree with you, I remember hearing that, but the other thing is this. Let's just say everything is true. Let's just say in a month he does leave and he decides to go to wherever it is and stuff. Okay. I don't know if she's got the idea that this is Cody and Brandy Rhodes or something. Like, she's got the idea that, okay, well, Dean's going to be gone, so I'm sure that if I go ahead and ask for my release, the WWE is going to do it.
She ain't leaving. Why would she? She's the first female commentator on Raw.
No, but let me finish the thought for a sec.
If it was a valid thought, then I would let you.
Oh, here we go.
My bad. I apologize.
Yeah, dude. But so here's the thing. I mean, she could legitimately go. Yeah, she is the first female cast. It doesn't mean she can't do that. We're going to the other place, like, say, following him. But here's the thing, though. That comment right there, not only is it to us a setup as far as, hey, nothing's going to happen, but B, if it was legitimately true, saying something like that on live air TV just doesn't sit well with the McMahons. And you know how the McMahons are. If you're not on their good side and you ask for the release, guess what they're going to do? We make too much money. You can go ahead and do nothing for the next 2 years. Why don't you go ahead and ask Neville that question? Because Neville was one of the top guys, spoke too much smack, wanted to leave, and they're like, no, we'll pay you. Just go ahead and sit around, do nothing for 2 years. It seemed like forever.
It was from like January pre-Royal Rumble, and then you got released in September, right before All In.
Dude, all I'm saying is that Brandy and Cody Rhodes had a special agreement because guess what? They didn't piss in Vince McMahon's bowl of Cheerios. They kept working and working, and when they finally decided they wanted to go, they asked for release, and they got it because they did nothing wrong, man. Vince was like, do your thing, have fun. It would not happen if it was in real. If this is legit, it will not happen with Renee. She will sit on the sidelines if that was the case until her contract expires. And that's the thing I thought about. I was like, dude, that was the dumbest comment I have heard in a long time from anybody. And there's been some dumb comments lately. So
a lot lately.
Yeah,
and
a lot. Yeah. So with that being said, ooh, man, I am gonna also go with the Shield, but it's going to be outside interference that wins the match. Fortunately, our faithful producer comes, or no, actually, no, that was you. My apologies. Braun Strowman comes out. That's what I was actually thinking. Comes in and gets into the mix and does some work, and the Shield walks out with the win. If it is the last time we see the Shield going out with a win, I don't think it's the last time.
I don't either. But I agree. Shield wins this match. Mindfreak has got the Shield, so a clean sweep on the match.
All right. Now he's going to start probably getting back on the show here in a second if we don't start changing stuff up. Which, guess what? The last two matches, I guarantee things aren't going to change. Let's go with the championship match. WWE Championship. Bryan, the new Daniel Bryan versus Kofi King. Oh, damn it. F you, Vince McMahon. Damn it, man. Kevin Owens. Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens. The new Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens.
Right. That being said, obviously it's BS the fact that they pulled Kofi, and I hope this leads up to WrestleMania. I don't know. Obviously, Mustafa Ali's back. I hope that this wasn't a deflection of pulling Kofi so they could bring Ali back in the picture. He returned this week.
Yeah.
And there was no pop for him. And it just I don't, even before Kofi, there just wasn't that much of a pop for Mustafa Ali. I really hope that they don't go the route of inserting him back into the story. That's why they have Kofi pulled. It's not going to fly. It's not going to resonate with the fans. It's not going to come across on TV properly. It's going to be forced. And to be honest, Mustafa Ali isn't the kind of character that needs to be forced in their face. He's just not. He doesn't have the magnetism of Roman Reigns or Charlotte Flair that has been kind of thrown in our faces the last few years. But so I hope that that's not the case. That being said, if we're going to get somebody other than Kofi and Daniel Bryan, I think Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens is going to be phenomenal. These guys have, history from before. I'll be watching this match, and I will be seeing Bryan Danielson, Kevin Steen. We're going to see a great match between these two. If we're not getting Kofi and Daniel Bryan, I'm glad that we're getting Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan. I have Daniel Bryan retaining just because I don't think Kofi or Kevin Owens is going to win the belt. I just don't see that happening. But I think that we see a returning Sami Zayn. And I think he walks to the ring with Kevin Owens. He's got to have his guy by his side because we know that the Ginger on the other side is going to be there. And we're going to have Eric Rowan right there by Daniel Bryan. And I think Sami Zayn is going to have to be there to balance things out.
Ginger. Actually, but that was the thing. I was asking you earlier, is there going to be anybody coming back? And absolutely, yeah. This is Sami Zayn's match to come back because they set it up perfectly. You got no friends. You got nobody to help you out. It's just you. But then not only that, though, they also showed the video of the New Day saying, hey, we're going to be there at Fastlane.
That is true. I forgot about that.
So it's not like Kofi's not going to be around. So there's a lot of things that can come out of this match. Now, ultimately, I do concur, too. Daniel Bryan will win the match or at least retain the belt. I hate to say it, he could potentially lose the match.
Oh, okay. So you got to pick one. You can't say he's gonna retain because that doesn't mean crap like who's going to win or lose the match.
Well, you said he's going to retain the match. You didn't say.
I say he's going to win and retain the belt.
Oh, you said he was going to retain the belt.
I say he's going to win and retain.
All right. Well, he is going. He'll win. He'll win. But I wouldn't doubt if outside interference screws it the other way. But who cares? I'm picking Daniel Bryan to
clean sweep number 4 for Malice Smacktalk, because Daniel or Mindfreak is picking Daniel Bryan also.
I can almost tell you that if my producers listening, I'm just going to tell you right now, this last match, don't expect anyone to go sideways on it. Okay.
Oh, you Charlotte Flair winning also?
What's that?
You have Charlotte Flair winning also?
Well, you broke up right there. Who?
You have Charlotte Flair winning also?
You don't have Charlotte Flair winning.
We're going to get Becky versus Asuka.
Oh, hell no.
Becky's got to redeem herself for that tap out at Royal Rumble.
No.
Hell no. Definitely not going to happen.
No.
When it comes down to it, you can see this one from a mile away. Obviously, this could be the absolute match. They swerve the hell out of us and make Becky lose. And we do get Charlotte versus Ronda in a one-off, which would be ridiculous. Be the stupidest decision they've made in years. It'd be almost as stupid as letting Batista win the Royal Rumble. Becky Lynch is going to win this match. There's no question about it. It's good for business. It's what everybody wants. It's going to sell WrestleMania, even though WrestleMania has already been sold.
If they're going with what everyone wants, they'll find a way of getting freaking Charlotte to wrestle Asuka for the damn championship and get her out of the picture altogether, because no one asked for Charlotte Flair to be in the WrestleMania match against Ronda Rousey. And I agree. I've been reading some of the stuff out there lately, and this match, bringing Charlotte into it, seeing Ronda go heel, this is all forced at this point. They had such a pure, true chemistry happening between Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey. It was perfect. You didn't need anything else. They were doing so well with social media. Twitter was getting blown up. Like, everyone wants to see Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch.
And when you go with that, like, I've been saying this for a while, you insert Charlotte Flair, the quality of match goes up immensely. The quality of storyline decreases deeply, because obviously Charlotte Flair, not only is she the best female wrestler on the roster, she's potentially one of the best wrestlers on the roster altogether. So when you put her in a wrestling match with Ronda and Becky, the overall talent and performance of the match rises, because she can elevate that match to different levels that Ronda and Becky just can't do wrestling-wise. Now, storyline-wise, Becky and Ronda will tell a story better than anything else, and that's what we're seeing. So Charlotte definitely comes off as the odd man out, because she's not inserted into the social media feud, with the exception of her being mentioned by the others, because she's not jumping in there. She hasn't been getting in the matches or in the ring with them as far as fighting. I mean, look at this last week. She tried to get in the ring a couple times, but then backed off and walked away. So when you look at the talent in the match, she increases the talent, but she devalues the story that's being told.
Now, Piopolis on the chat has a question. I have the answer for it in my head. Does Ronda show up at Fastlane and help Becky win the match to get her in there? That's an interesting storyline. I think it'd actually work out well.
I think that actually does work. I wasn't even thinking about that, but I think it does.
She's got a jacked up knee. She comes out on SmackDown last night on crutches, still looking worse than she did 2 weeks ago. It totally makes sense. I want to see why she wouldn't do it. I ultimately, I'm picking Becky Lynch as well, and I'm sure without even looking at Mindfreak's feed, he's got the same thing, because ultimately that's what needs to happen for WrestleMania. Becky Lynch needs to be in there. They have her win the match. She gets inserted into the match, and if she does have a legitimate injury, or at least they could play it off, she has 30 days to get healed up for it. versus trying to keep competing on a weekly basis and have people jack up her knee all the time just so she can hobble into WrestleMania.
So what I think that Ronda does need to come out. I think that makes sense. She wins the match by DQ for Becky, but then she goes to town on Becky. And they need to do it this way. They need to do it to the point where Becky goes off TV for 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks. No SmackDown, no Raw. Go home, heal up, get the beating because you're in the match. We have this feud. We have this match going. Now get off TV so that when this match comes closer to WrestleMania, like I said, we're 4 weeks out. So that's 2 weeks time, a break. So the last 2 weeks build up for WrestleMania. It's more fresh. It's not drawn out. It's not overdone. It kind of brings new life right before the final stretch.
This has got to be probably WWE's most trying time, because they've got 30 days for their biggest pay-per-view. In fact, kind of switching off to AEW for just a second, because I was reading that article earlier. They asked the question of Cody Rhodes, would they be doing a match the same weekend as WWE like they did last year? And Cody flat out said, absolutely not. It's their weekend. There's no way. I know people came to watch that match and sell it out, but they feel like a lot of people were there because of the fact that they were there to see WrestleMania primarily. So, this has got to be the worst time of the year for them, because they have to still sell their main match. They still have to have these people go out in the ring and wrestle. And if Becky Lynch is legitimately busted up right now, they have to somehow find a way of getting her healed up for the match, and at the same time make sure that none of their matches itself, headlining matches, get freaking destroyed because someone gets a fluke injury or something like that. Because they just can't have them sit on the sidelines, and you can't have freaking every week Charlotte Flair come out and just talk without wrestling, because it just gets freaking old like it has been.
No, she's not going to come out and just talk. She'll come out and do her bullshit ass wink too.
Oh, that's right. She has been introducing the wink now in camera mode.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So that's our picks, man. Now, first of all, if you weren't on the show, Pedopoulos, hey man, I look pretty good and I'm a ginger on camera. Thank you very much, sir. You gotta come watch this show live and join the chat room, man. We've got some good stuff going on here. Hello to Papa Smart, who just jumped in as well. This is a great show. Come on live 9:30 Wednesday nights on Twitch. Come join the chat room. Come start talking smack to us in the chat room and tell us what we're doing right or wrong. We want to see your input. We want to see some. Thanks a lot for Pedopoulos throwing in some good stuff tonight. We appreciate you guys coming in. But that's the Fastlane pay-per-view show. We appreciate you guys coming in. Now, of course, as we always go to the end, we like to talk about where you can follow us. Mindfreak, not Mindfreak, Bearded Master, you've got Mindfreak information better than I do in my head, because I'm an old man turning 44 next week. How about you let us know where they can find Mindfreak?
Well, I believe I want to say you can find them at Mindfreak MLG. Is that correct? I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head.
I think that's his Twitter handle. I think.
Yes, his Twitter handle is Mindfreak MLG.
It's literally written right next to your guys' head saying Mindfreak MLG.
Right there.
And that's why you're the producer with the second run-in of the show. Right there. And then you can also find him here on Twitch at BTB Mindfreak or Mindfreak BTB. I'm getting it all wrong. My gosh.
Can't remember. It's the blind side.
BTB Mindfreak here on Twitch. So yes, you can find me at A Bearded Master, Instagram, Twitter. Also, you can find me wrestling page, Boot to the Face, Boot the number 2, the Face. And before you give your handles and where they can follow you and us, but starting tomorrow night, we also have a 12-day event from New Japan Pro Wrestling going on. It's their New Japan Cup 2019. Opening match is tomorrow night. It goes on until Thursday or Sunday, March 24th, which is when the final is going to be. The great thing about this, all the different matches, all the different lineups between all 12 events are going to lead to one final winner. That's what's great about New Japan. They do the Tag Team Cup, they do the New Japan Cup, they do the G1 Climax tournament. They are big on tournaments that prove who's the best wrestler in the organization. And the New Japan Cup 2019 final winner will go on to G1 Supercard to face Jay White for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at Madison Square Garden, WrestleMania weekend. So if you're going to watch anything outside of WWE, this is a great opportunity because this is going to lead to the biggest card outside of WWE this year.
That's why I like Bearded Master on the show, man, because he's got the outside of WWE view. He's got it all. He's the bearded one, the guru. Absolutely. I am going to definitely try to check some of that stuff out because, like I said, this time of the year is becoming better and better every year, not because of the fact that it's WrestleMania month that we're starting to get to that point where it's the big show, but with all the other shows coming around now, New Japan Wrestling, AEW will be probably doing some things as years follow. There's all these other organizations, Ring of Honor, that are actually putting quality shows around the same time. Granted, and they'll gladly admit it, they're riding coattails because they know WrestleMania is the show of shows that brings out a lot of the fans of wrestling just to be able to watch it. But, dude, man, coattail ride all you want. It's great quality wrestling on the side as well. And I'll be looking forward to checking some of that stuff out too. You can follow me at Masonic Vader over this shoulder like the other guys because I figured out the last time. Yep, that shoulder there. You can also check me out on PlayStation Network, Masonic Vader 71. And like I always mention to people, please like our casts, share us, tell everyone what's going on. We've been going strong. We're getting to our year mark. And, we'd love to see you guys every week. And, definitely. We had Papa Smart come in and stuff. We'll come check out their cast as well and say hi and everything because that's how this community works and everything. So, thank you so much, Malice Corp, for letting us host tonight. We appreciate you letting us continue this ride. Next week we'll have our Fastlane recap. Hopefully we'll get Mindfreak back so we get the trio together. And
it's been a good minute. I feel like it's been like 3 weeks since we've all been on the show together.
It's been at least 2. I know that. I think it'll be.
No, I'm pretty sure
it's been 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks.
Right.
No, it's been 3 the last 4 because he was back for 1 week before missing last week because he had. I don't know. I think Mindfreak might be ghosting us right now. I don't know what's going on there.
Lesnar schedule.
He's trying to ghost us and he's going to dip out on us or something. I don't know what's going on there.
Thank you so much, everyone, for showing up on the show. Thank you very much for having fun with us tonight. And, of course, we're going to get out of here. So how we get out of here, we always leave the show on the 1, 2, 3.
I still love how, even though it's 3 count, he gives us the 4. He couldn't even give us the 5 for Bundy.
Good night, everyone. Take care. We'll see you next week. Enjoy Fastlane.